live inside of the group now. Sorry about that. If any of you caught the live inside of the event, I realized it wasn't actually streaming into the group like it is supposed to, and I wanted it to. And so I had to restart. So thanks for bearing with me. If you are jumping on in the group, say hi in the comments when you get on. Yay, now we're in the group. Okay. I wanted to make sure we're in the right place. Everybody needs to be able to have this replay. So, yay. Okay. I'm just going to pop this open on my phone so that I can see the comments, and then we are going to have fun. I'm stoked. Turn the volume down. Okay, okay. All right. Oh, I'm so excited, you guys. Okay. I'm so excited about this because this has been a long time coming of like really nailing down like what this looks like. And I just can't wait to share this little sneak peek with you guys because it's going to be awesome. So if you are jumping on live, come say hi. If you are catching the replay, just drop in the comments #replay. I will have some time towards the end to answer questions, and it's going to be freaking cool. So we are going to get started. So I want to bring you a story about a girl and her husband who needed to pay off debt. So when my husband and I, spoiler alert, I'm talking about myself. So when my husband and I started looking into how to pay off debt, the first person who popped up for us was somebody very well known in the financial and debt payoff world who is very adamant that if you are going to get out of debt, you should focus on nothing but getting out of debt, right? That should be your primary goal, that you should do nothing else until you get out of debt. You shouldn't go on vacation. You shouldn't be eating out, any of those things. And we bought into that to the extent that I called into that said radio show and asked, how do I prioritize my European vacation when I'm trying to get out of debt? And said financial personality literally called me stupid. And at the time, I was annoyed. And then I was like, well, he's right. You know, I shouldn't be going to Europe when we have all of this debt to pay off. At the time, we had about $45,000 in debt at the time. So then we got really intense and we didn't eat out and I didn't do my hair and we didn't do anything nice. And we didn't do anything fun until we paid off the first of our big debts. Now, we didn't have a big long list of debts with a bunch of small ones and a bunch of medium ones and a bunch of big ones. We had 4, actually at the time 2, really big debts. And so it took us a while to pay off the first one. So we pay off the first one and we're like, finally, let's do something nice for ourselves. Let's do something fun. Like, let's celebrate. We paid off the first one. We still had a whole other debt to pay off. That was a large debt. And so we were like, let's just take 1 month where we do nice things. And we went out to eat and I got my hair done and we did the fun things. And well, that 1 month turned into like 3 and 4. And well, 5 months later, we bought a house with 0 down, which was crazy. And then, of course, we needed new furniture for that house. And well, then my computer died and his computer died. And we also needed a desktop. So there we were 6 months after paying off that first debt, having not moved the needle on the second debt at all, and having racked up another $14,000 in consumer debt. Over the next year, we also purchased an RV with debt. Now, the problem we had was not that we didn't want to pay off debt. And it was not that we didn't have the money to pay off debt. It was that we didn't know that we were allowed to pay off debt and do the things that we wanted to do. So ultimately, we said there has to be a better way. There has to be a balance here, right? And so we decided to build into our cash flow plan, enjoying our lives. We went on vacations, we went to Gatlinburg. That was the year I fell in love with Gatlinburg. and also paying off debt. And so by January of 2019, we were 100% debt free, having over the last 3 years paid off $85,000 in debt, including the RV and the $14,000 in credit card debt that we racked up. Because at first we were so strict that we just completely rebounded. It's like going on a crash diet, right? We go on a crash diet and then you finally eat some carbs. You're like, oh, carbs, right? Same thing. So we found this middle ground of being able to enjoy our lives and pay off our debt. And we're able to get completely debt free as of just over 2 years ago. And it's been amazing ever since. And so as a financial coach, I'm like, we need to find out how to teach other people to do the same thing. How do I show people how they can both accomplish their financial dreams of paying off debt and whatever it is they're trying to accomplish and enjoy their life now? Because so many people will say like, well, I don't want to work on paying off my debt because I want to have fun. And I'm like, you can do both. So this has been a big thing for me. This has been a big dream of mine of like figuring out, what does this look like? Like, how do I teach people how to do this? And so the problem is when you go out there and you're like, how do I pay off my debt? There's so many different polarizing opinions on how to pay off debt, right? They're very polarizing. You have this one like guru who's like, you shouldn't see the inside of a restaurant unless you're working there because you're broke, right? It's very much a scarcity mindset. You also have the other end of that coin where people say, well, if you focus on your debt, you're just going to get more of it. That's scarcity. You should just be in abundance. Don't worry about it. The universe will provide. Everything will be fine. And then you just completely ignore your debt, hoping that you'll win the lottery one day, right? That doesn't really work either. It's completely polarizing. Then you also have the snowball method and the avalanche method. These are two like more math-based methods, right? So the snowball method says to list your debts from smallest to largest, pay just minimum payments on everything and attack the smallest one. And then when that one's paid off, you roll that minimum payment into the next one. And when that one's paid off, you roll that minimum. That's the idea of a snowball rolling downhill, gets bigger, right? And so you gain this momentum. The good thing about the snowball method is it does allow you to get some emotional momentum because you take care of those smaller debts first. You start getting those wins, you start getting excited, and it moves things down the road. The problem with the snowball method, number one, is it doesn't allow for any wiggle or freedom. It also tends to cost you a little bit more in interest in the long term, right? The other method that people talk about is the avalanche method, where you list your debts from largest to smallest in terms of interest rate, with the idea that if you can take care of these big interest rates and these high rate debts, then that allows everything to kind of trickle down from there and kind of fall down and take care of everything else, right? The problem with that is you tend to not really get a lot of emotional momentum at all because you're looking at these big ass debts with these huge interest rates and you just get frustrated because you're not really moving the needle. You're not really accomplishing anything for a while. It takes a while to really get that momentum. You might save a little bit of interest, but you are a lot of times going to take a little bit longer to get there. And so both of these methods have their flaws. They have fatal flaws, in my opinion, that don't account for you. They don't account for you and your life and your desires and your dreams and what you feel and what you want to accomplish, right? And so as we were going through our debt-free journey, and as I've been working with dozens of people over the last few years of helping them pay off their debt and learn, what fits for them, I have uncovered a revolutionary debt payoff strategy that I want to share with you today. And I'm so excited. And I can't wait for you guys to really dig into this. So what is the freedom method? It's the freedom method. That's what I call it because it's simple as that. Forget the snowballs and avalanches. Like nobody needs all this freezing snow shit, right? It's the freedom method. The purpose of the freedom method is to show you how to create true momentum in your debt-free journey, right? Without the scarcity tactics and the overwhelming, confusing strategies that have their flaws, by empowering you with the freedom of choice. And it allows you to have your cake and eat it too. It allows you to create true momentum in your debt-free journey while still enjoying your life, while still doing the things that feel good to you, while doing the things that bring you joy and light you up. It allows you to do both, because we don't have to have these polarizing strategies, right? It doesn't have to be black or white. It doesn't have to be pay it all off or don't pay anything. It doesn't have to be scarcity or abundance. Now, mind you, scarcity, we can leave out at the door, right? But it doesn't have to be only pay off your debt or live your life. You have the freedom to choose to do both. You have the freedom to choose to do both. So I want to give you a quick overview of what is involved in this method. And I will tell you, my one-on-one clients, my intensive clients, are getting this at the deepest level. They're getting all of the strategy, all of the mindset. They're getting all of the details about how to do each one of these steps inside of the program. So I just want to give you the high-level overview today. There's three major components of the freedom method for debt payoff, okay? The first component is awareness. If you don't know what is going on in your money, you can't do anything. You just can't. And this idea that if you just don't look at it or don't pay attention to it, then it means it doesn't exist or that you don't have to deal with it is just crazy, right? This idea that if you focus on it or look at it or prioritize debt, that it will just bring more debt into your life. It's just flawed. It's a flawed view of things. You have to have a level of awareness. You have to understand, where do I stand? How much debt do I have? What kind of debt do I have? What are my interest rates? What are my minimum payments? Where do I stand with my debt? And how does that compare to my monthly income, right? What is the impact that it's having on me? Create that awareness. Create that awareness of what's actually happening with your money. The second step, the second component of the freedom method is what I call targeting. So in targeting, you're actually going to look at where you're trying to go. So this is looking at, your goals, what you're trying to accomplish, what you can and can't afford, where things are at, what are the things that you value, what are the things that you desire, what are the things you want to create in your life. Because if you don't know where you're trying to go, you can't get there. Think about it like a road trip. I talk about it being a journey all the time. If you don't know where you are and you don't know where you want to go, how the heck are you going to go on a journey, right? If you know where you are, but you don't know where you're going, you can't get there. If you know where you want to be, but you don't know where you're starting, you can't get on the right path, right? So you have to have the level of awareness. And then we have to do our level of targeting, where we start looking at what is the end goal. Not only what is the end goal, but what do we want life to look like along the way? What are the things that we desire? What are the things that we enjoy? What does this get to look like? That's targeting. And the third aspect of the freedom method of debt payoff is momentum. Awareness, targeting, and momentum. You have to have momentum. And this is going to look different for everybody. But the idea of momentum is, if you can't start going, if you can't start moving, if you feel like every step of the journey is hard and you don't feel like it's easy to move, you're not going to want to do it, right? If it feels icky, if it feels hard, if it feels frustrating, if you feel like you're not getting the wins that you need, you're not going to want to keep going. It's, again, going back to the idea of dieting. If you aren't seeing the numbers move, it's very hard to keep going, right? If the scale's not going down, if your waist size isn't getting smaller, it's hard. And so you need that momentum. And so part of the idea of this freedom method is creating momentum. It's identifying those places where we can create financial momentum, mental momentum, mindset momentum, and emotional momentum, right? How can we get you to a place where you feel like you're winning? And when you feel like you're winning, what does that make you want to do? It makes you want to keep going, right? And so this looks different for everyone. And the beauty of the freedom method is that every single month and every single decision gets to look different, because in those decisions, you're going to go, okay, What is going to get me the momentum that I desire? What's going to get me towards my target, right? What's going to be something that makes me more aware of my situation? You get to decide what it looks like each time. Like I said, the freedom method is to help you create true momentum in your debt-free journey without scarcity tactics or any of that fear or any of that overwhelm, by giving you the freedom of choice. And here's the thing, I tell my clients this all of the time, is that there's no right or wrong choice except the one that you don't make. It's about intentionality and mindfulness. It's about you consciously going into those money decisions, knowing exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it, and choosing the thing that brings you closer to your target. That's it. It's that simple. Awareness, targeting, and momentum. That's it. And in my intensive programs, in my 90-minute intensive, we're going to create all of that for you. We're going to help you understand the awareness around your money. We're going to help you understand the targets that you're trying to aim for. And we're going to help you identify how to notice and how to find those pieces of momentum, those pieces that are going to get you where you're trying to go. That's what we're going to do with it. It's incredible. In that 90-minute intensive, that's what we're going to create. And with my one-on-one clients in the intensives, I dig into all the details. How do I create the awareness? What numbers do I need to be aware of? How do I create targets? How do I create goals? But how do I also identify what do I want to do? What does this journey get to look like? And then how do I identify the pieces of momentum? How do I know if something's going to give me emotional momentum? How do I know if something's going to give me that mindset momentum that I need? How do I know if it's going to give me financial momentum? What do those pieces look like? We dive deep into those in the one-on-one programs that I do. Okay. And so I wanted to give you the sneak peek, but I'm telling you, here in a couple of weeks or a month, I don't know. I have no timeline. I don't know. Soon, I'm going to do a free workshop that digs into these details. Okay. Not going to go as deep as we go in the one-on-ones, because when I go one-on-one, I go super deep. I go into exact numbers, but I'm going to give you one extra level in that where you kind of have an idea and you can start putting it together. Okay. And you can start understanding what you're wanting to create with your money, and how you want to create this journey that actually looks like freedom now, freedom now, not freedom when you're debt free, not freedom when you have $1 million, but freedom now in journey. Freedom along the way. Oh, it's so awesome. It's so exciting. So I do want to tell you that coming up sometime in the next month or so, or two, I don't know, I'm going to do a 3-day workshop that dives a little bit deeper into each of these steps to give you some action steps that you can take. So I want you to be around, invite your friends to the group, hang out with us here, because this is where it's going to happen. It's here inside the group. It's that workshop. Now, that being said, there is a level of detail and a level of coaching and a level of depth and explanation that you will never get here in this group, that only comes with coaching from me. Now, I'm eventually going to launch a group program. Eventually going to launch a group program too, and you'll get some depth there as well. There's a level that doesn't exist here in the group. And so if you're like, okay, this all sounds good. Like, I want freedom. I want to be able to do the thing and also do the things. I want to be able to pay off my debt and also live my life. I want to be able to have all of it, right? I want to have it all. Who doesn't want to have it all? If you want that now, if you're ready now to start taking those steps, then you need to consider and jump on board with the 90-minute intensive. I also have 6-week intensives. So if you want to dive deeper, we can go all the way into the deep end in the 6-week intensive. But in just 90 minutes, I can get you clarity on this. I can get you clarity on your level of awareness, on the targeting, and on your momentum, so that you can start implementing this freedom method for yourself right now. Right now. And I've said it before, I will say it again. All of my prices are going up on April 1st. All of them. And so these 90-minute intensives starting on April 1st are going to be $777. Okay. $777 for 90 minutes that will change your freaking life. That will literally change your life. However, until April 1st, if you get in touch with me before April 1st to get started on your 90-minute intensive, you're going to get it at the current price, which is just insane, but totally worth it. And this is why I say there's a level of depth that you're not going to get here in the free group. And I want to be able to dive into your numbers with you. I want to be able to dive into what your situation looks like. I want to be able to give you the details of exactly how to implement each step of the freedom method. But just know that there is an option for you that allows you to do both. You can pay off debt and live your life. You can, by being aware of your situation, giving yourself that level of awareness about your money. How much do you actually owe? How does that compare to your income? By targeting your goals and also your dreams and desires. Like, what do you actually want it to look like? Where are you trying to get, right? What does that look like? What does that journey look like? And then by finding those individual pieces that give you the momentum that you need to feel like you're winning so that you can just keep moving, right? Because if you stop moving, you go backwards or you die. It's like shark, right? You can't stop moving. Keep going, right? And so start doing that. Start thinking about it. How do you become more aware? How do you start targeting where you're trying to go? And how do you find the pieces that give you momentum? Because it doesn't have to look one way or the other. It's not black and white. It's not A or B. But if you want to dive deeper, if you want someone to actually look at your situation and help you find those pieces, help you identify what's going to move you forward, help you identify what's going to make you feel free now and not feel free when you finally get to XYZ, right? How to feel free now. You need to jump into a 90-minute intensive with me. Anybody who contacts me for the 90-minute intensive before April 1st, you have 2 days. Before the end of the day, April 1st, if you have contacted me, then you can lock in March's prices for a little bit of time, okay? So get in touch with me. Let's talk about it now and lock in March prices before the end of the month because prices are going up on April 1st, okay? All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. So this is the thing I need you to be aware of. And like I said, we're going to have more coming out about it as time goes on. But the freedom method allows you to get your debt paid off and live the life that feels good to you, right? That live the life that feels like it's actually bringing you freedom now instead of later through awareness, targeting, and momentum, which is the only way that you can move forward, okay? So if you want to jump into the 90-minute intensive, I'm going to drop a link in the comments where you can jump straight into it. If you aren't ready for that and you want to get in touch with me, just send me a message. Anybody who contacts me before the end of the day, April 1st, can lock in March's prices for a little bit of time. Speaking of, right now, so again, April 1st, prices are going up to $777 for the 90-minute intensive. Right now, in March, if you get in touch with me before the end of April 1st, $397. All right. I love you guys. I'll drop the link in the comments. Let me know if you have questions. Bye.